Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts, the monthly podcast where guest panelists are all Hallmark movie enthusiasts who love to debate, rank, and create top 10 lists of Hallmark movies. It's July, the heart of the summer, and who better to focus our hearts on than the steaming hot Wes Brown and his Hallmark movie filmography. I'm Lynn, your host, and back from her extended vacay is my trusty co-host, Erinbeth. Erinbeth, you missed a rollicking Vic Webster draft last month.
Oh my goodness. I was so sad to miss it. And it was such a good episode. And then Bran gave you the Fighting Chance song to use. Like, what an earworm of a song. But man, I love listening to it. It just brought
Yeah,
me back to last Christmas. I adored
yeah.
it.
It sticks in your head. Bran is so great, so talented, and I love
Yes.
I love that song so much. So speaking of loving things so much, we all love your mocktail and cocktail recipes that you do every month with a theme. What did you do for this month?
Well, I do have to thank Lynn for coming in clutch with me. I was having a difficult time this time, and she provided us with a fantastic sweet pecan bourbon or pecan, depends on where you're from and how you want to say it. That one is very, very yummy for a summer night, I think. And then I did a Christmas cookie martini mocktail. If you have a little bit of a sweet tooth, you can find both of these drinks at Hallmark Movie Drafts on Instagram. So check them out because I think that everyone is going to need to drink a little something for this draft.
Sounds good. Perfect for summer. Okay, let's meet today's panelists. We have two experienced drafters and one person making their first appearance on HMD. They're all Wes Brown fans. They've had several months to rewatch his 15 eligible movies, and they've each come up with their own personal top 10 lists. And they're going to try to get as many of their own personal picks onto the final list, ideally in the same position that they've got it ranked in. Erinbeth, you're going to be keeping score during the match. They're each going to get 1 point for every title that makes it onto the list from their personal list, and a bonus point if it makes it into the same ranked position. And at the end of the match, all they get is HMD baller bragging rights, and they're also eligible to compete in the 2024 HMD Tournament of Champions. And that's going to take place in January 2025. So there's a lot at stake here, people, isn't there? Yeah, sure there is. You should see these faces. Okay, first up is Stephanie. Stephanie has come a full circle in the HMD world, first as a listener, then as a guest co-host for the best movies of 2023 overall. That was excluding the Christmas movies. And for the past several months, she's been a key member of the HMD podcast team, pulling together the log lines for each movie and adding her own spin to them. And now she's finally drafting. Stephanie, hi, how are you?
I'm good, Lynn. I'm good.
you are you excited? I cannot tell. What's going on?
I am excited. I love Wes Brown. I can't say I love all of his movies, but I love Wes Brown, and it's an interesting group of movies. So this is going to be a lot of fun today.
It is. Was it hard for you to come up with your final top 10?
It wasn't as hard to come up with the 10. It was hard to figure out what the order though was.
Yeah, that's
So,
usually the case, right? Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. Next up is someone who she's a willing victim of doing the back-to-back double stack HMD appearances because, as I said in the Vic Webster draft last month, I lost my mind. I switched some dates around, kept the same panelists. And listeners, this is how this person ended up drafting in last month's Vic Webster draft, which we literally just finished recording a couple of weeks ago. And now she's back for Wes Brown. She's stealth. She's a savvy drafter. It's Erin. Welcome back, Erin.
Thank you, Lynn. Happy to be here. A little bit nervous for this one. Yes.
You've had a lot of Hallmark movie watching in the last 6 months, actually, right?
Yeah. Something I never thought I would say is I'm a little burnt out on Hallmark, but I'll give it a week. Give it a week. I mean, we're going into Christmas in July, so I can't be burned out. There's a lot of great movies that Deck the Hallmark are going to be covering that I haven't seen. So I'm like, okay, well, there's my next project. So yeah.
Absolutely. I am curious though, what is it about Wes Brown that you like?
I think he really excels when he can just kind of be himself. I think he's hot for one. Let's just start there. But I mean, he just seems like a really good guy. He has a beautiful smile and he just really seems to enjoy. You can see the actual joy that he has when he's up there performing or watching on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. It does really come through. You're actually coming into this match with a leftover veto
Yeah.
and a veto override. This is all left over from the last match that you played. So the trivia round is going to be really important for you,
And
right?
yes, it is. And trivia is probably the bane of my existence. So we will see how this goes.
It's the bane of all our existence, but
You're
you can't do
right.
a coin toss with three people. So.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
True.
Well, good luck
Thank
today.
you.
And finally, last but not least, our third panelist is making her first appearance on HMD. She's fired up. She's ready to go. Do not count her out. It's Leigh Anne. Leigh Anne, welcome. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts.
Thank you so much. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh my gosh, first time caller, first time drafter. And guess what? The first time drafter last month, Jenna, kicked ass. She beat everybody. So
That's
you
good.
go, girl. Was it hard for you to put your list together or to rank them?
At first I didn't think I was going to have a problem, and then I started looking at his list of movies, and I was like, I have a solid 5 that I can put down. And then after I had watched all of them, it was fairly easy. Like I still had my favorites, and they still like it was just picking the latter half. And then there were some I found upon second viewing I didn't like as much as I liked them the first time. And I was like, I put them way at the end. I was like, ugh, no. Okay. So it
Well,
wasn't bad.
well, I always have, some Austin absolutes. Sometimes I don't mention them in the show or I don't declare that I have Austin absolutes, but I'm letting everyone know that I do have some Austin absolutes for this draft. I've seen all your lists. I was tempted not to have this recording because I didn't like what I saw. My Austin absolutes may not make any kind of an appearance, but we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, laugh, people, laugh. This is what I'm dealing with. You stop laughing too, Erinbeth. This is not fair. All right, let's talk about eligibility. So eligibility for this match is that all the movies had to appear on Hallmark or Hallmark Mystery Channel. They had to feature Wes Brown in a leading role or a key supporting role. So his cameos aren't eligible, but also his role as Victor in My Southern Family Christmas was not a key supporting role, so that's not eligible. And then he did this movie back in 2013 that aired on the Hallmark Movie Channel, which no longer exists. And it's an original Hallmark movie that he did with Kevin Sorbo. I know, Kevin Sorbo, whatever. It's a Western called Shadow on the Mesa. We couldn't find it airing or streaming anywhere that was really accessible. So since Hallmark didn't love it enough to put it onto their platform, we're not making it eligible in this draft. So that's how we went from 17 to 15. Math is hard, but I believe I counted accurately. So our Letterboxd will give you the final top 10 lists and the eligibility lists for all the movies that we draft here on Hallmark Movie Drafts. That's at Hallmark Drafts on Letterboxd. It's a great resource, so go ahead and check it out. Let's talk drafting positions for this match. There are 3 of them, A, B, and C. Drafter C picks positions 10, 7, and 3 on the list. They get 1 veto and 1 veto override. Drafter B picks positions 9, 6, 4, and 2 on the list. They get 1 veto card because they get 4 picks. So they get 1 more chance to get one of their favorites onto the list than anyone else. And drafter A picks positions 8, 5, and the number 1 position on the list. And they get 1 veto and a bonus veto. So basically, they get 2 vetoes to play. And as I mentioned earlier, Erin is coming into the match with a leftover veto and a leftover veto override. So pick your drafting positions carefully, players. The drafting order for this, how do we decide who gets to be drafter A, B, or C? That's where Erinbeth comes in. She's going to test your knowledge with a round of trivia questions related to the eligible movies. First person to answer one question correctly gets to choose whether they want to be drafter A, B, or C. The second person to answer the next question correctly gets to choose theirs from the remaining two positions. And the third one, wah, wah, you get whatever is left over. Just keep in mind that if you win the trivia round, you're also the first up in the veto order for every round, where you're going to have to declare if you agree or if you want to veto a pick that's been mentioned. So, Erinbeth, go ahead, take it away, torture them with your trivia.
All right, well, we're going to start with the rules to make sure that everyone is following them. First thing is you can't answer until I've finished asking the question. As soon as I finish asking questions, raise your virtual hand. The first hand raised will be called to answer that question. When I call your name, you must answer immediately. Any pause of more than 2 seconds will be considered a wrong answer, and the question will go to the remaining drafters. If you answer incorrectly, you can't guess again until the other two drafters have made a guess. There aren't any clues, so when it's clear the drafters don't know the answer, we will just move on to a new question. Are there any questions from you? Right, if you don't have any questions, I've got some for you. So we will start in the South for A Nashville Christmas Carol. In A Nashville Christmas Carol, which Christmas ghost from the classic Christmas Carol is missing? Erin was quick up with that hand. Go ahead.
Ghost of Christmas Future.
That is correct. The Ghost of Christmas Future, or the Spirit of Christmas Future, was missing. Erin, you have some time now to sit back and see which drafting position you want. I always find the ones that say they're going to have the hardest time with trivia. Get that hand up for me.
Yeah, Erin said she was not good at trivia.
Did you listen to Vic Webster? I was horrible.
All right, so we're going to go on to see who's going to duke it out between Stephanie and Leigh Anne. We are going to start with Over the Moon in Love. For Over the Moon in Love, who wrote the script? Oh, these are looks of, you're just making Lynn more and more sad every single moment.
Really, really tempted to pull the plug. Over the Moon in Love, people. One of the best Hallmark movies ever.
Okay, Lynn.
All right. Well, from the silence and the looks of deers and headlights, I'm going to say that nobody knew that as Lynn said, Lynn wrote this question. She gave me the answer as Jessica effing Lowndes.
Yep.
She wrote it. Oh
she
my
is
God.
a national treasure for Hallmark, people. I do not understand
explains
this.
A whole lot. Like, I think it explains a ton.
That movie makes so much more sense.
All right.
Ask your next question. This is unbelievable. I'm shocked.
All right. So the next question, in Sweet Pecan Summer, what sport did Wes Brown's character play? Oh my goodness. Leigh Anne, it was like a light bulb. Leigh Anne, go ahead.
Baseball.
Correct. Baseball was the answer. It was the funniest thing because the light bulb light on your face, like you got it. It was great. So Erin has pick number 1, Leigh Anne pick number 2, and Stephanie, as always, person at the end gets whatever is left over.
Oh, way to go, Erin. Which drafting position would you like? Do you want me to read the numbers again, or do you have it?
I have it. I can't. It's a hard decision between A and B. But I'm going to go with B.
Ooh, so Erin's going to go with B, where she's going to get picks 9, 6, 4, and 2. She gets 1 veto card, but she has a veto that's left over from her earlier match, and she has a veto override as well. So she basically is going to get 2 vetoes and a veto override, and the most number of opportunities to get her movies onto the final list. Leigh Anne, our first timer, came in second. My money's on you, Leigh Anne. What are you going to do? Do you want drafter C or A?
I want A. I wanted B really bad, but dang it.
So Leigh Anne's going to be drafter A. She gets picks 8, 5, and the number 1 pick. And she gets basically 2 vetoes, 1 veto and the bonus veto. And that leaves Stephanie as drafter C. And Stephanie, you're going to actually kick off the list. No pressure there, huh? She's going to have picks 10, 7, and 3. She'll have a veto and a veto override. So Stephanie is thinking about what she wants to offer up for the number 10 pick. Just want to say, Erinbeth, you and I have our side hustle going on. This is always a travesty of justice. I very rarely win, but that's okay. So we just have to see as many of our movies get onto the final list that the panelists pick. And then we get bragging rights too. Nothing else. We really need to up the stakes for that. Maybe I would try harder. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. All right. I have stalled long enough. So, Stephanie, what are you going to offer up in the number 10 slot to kick off the list?
All right, I'm going to go with Love Begins.
Love Begins. Okay, so Love Begins is from 2011. It's from the Love Comes Softly series. Julie Mond is Ellen. Wes Brown is Clark. Clark has adventurous dreams of seeing the world, and these are put into jeopardy after he and a friend start a fight, which damages a local cafe. Through a plea deal with the sheriff and the cafe owner, Millie, Clark works off his sentence as a farmhand for the Barlow sisters, Ellen and Cassie, who are searching for a worker. Clark is slowly winning Ellen over. He suffers a traumatic head injury in a fall, and after Ellen nurses him back to health, her former fiancé returns to win her back. Will Clark travel on or stay behind where love begins? There is a lot to unpack in those few sentences. Why did you choose this movie for number 10? What was it that you like about it?
So I would say, I think one thing with these is that I feel like I should say too, I tend to not lean towards the more religious God movies. I did like this one more than the second one. So that I guess shares a little bit more about where I'm at. But this one had a little more bad boy Wes. I liked that like he got in trouble, he had to work off his debt. And it's kind of that relationship with him and Ellen was, you can tell right away that there's that attraction, but they're both trying to fight it. But really, the scene where Ellen's ex comes back into town and they're in like the little shop, and Ellen and her ex are talking, and her sister Cassie and Millie and Rose are all just glaring at him when he talks about how successful he is, and Ellen is just like, uh-huh. I don't know, that scene alone just kind of made the movie just a little bit more enjoyable for me. So
Good justification for Love Begins. Erin, you are first up in the veto order. What do you think of Love Begins at number 10?
I was not a fan. Um, Stephanie makes some compelling arguments. I'm struggling here because it's like, do I want to play a veto on the very first one? I don't know that I do. There's other hills I feel like I want to die on. I mean, the thing with these batch of movies is they were difficult to rank. And I just kept going back to, did I like Wes or not? And I did like Wes in this movie. I think he played a really stand-up guy. So for that reason, and because I think it's too soon to use a veto, I will let it stand.
Erin, at this moment, is going to let it stand. We will see, Erinbeth, as we get further up in the list. If Erin says, I should have vetoed at number 10. This is always the dilemma. So basically, Erin is, making you do it, Leigh Anne. Do you like this? Love Begins at number 10?
I also had this movie at number 10 for exactly the same reasons as Stephanie. I was like, oh my God, are we twins, Stephanie? Yeah, I watched this one and the other one. I didn't really like the other one as much. But yeah, I have to say,
Wow.
well, yeah.
Stephanie and Leigh Anne are twinning at number 10. We'll see how long this kumbaya lasts. I
Yeah.
don't know. Everyone is always full of love and joy at the beginning. Wait till we get to number 4, and then the gloves come off. So we'll see. All right. Love Begins, played by Stephanie, is locked in at number 10. Erin, that leaves you up for number 9. What are you thinking?
Haul Out the Holly lit up.
Haul Out the Holly lit up at number 9. So that's last year's. That's 2023. We all know it's Lacey Chabert as Emily, Wes Brown as Jared. All our favorite supporters are in it too. And for this one, it's as the holidays approach, Emily and Jared are looking forward to celebrating the holidays together again, this time as a couple. Emily is now embracing Evergreen Lane's uniquely festive spirit and is ready to work with Jared and Ned and Mary Louise and Pamela to make this year's Christmas celebration the best one yet. But then there's a house on the block that goes up for sales and it causes quite a stir. The neighbors turn out to be reality TV royalty, the Jolly Johnsons, and the holiday competition and chaotic shenanigans heat up. What are you thinking about this movie for number 9, Erin?
So I went back and forth with this movie quite a bit. I remember when it premiered last holiday season, I really didn't love it, but I was comparing it so much against the first one. I did love that the original cast of characters came back. I think the first half of the movie, when we were still like reestablishing the characters and their relationships, it was hilarious. The banter was great. You can't, Ned and Pamela characters, like, you could have a whole spinoff on them, and I think we would all watch it and love it. When the Jolly Johnsons came in, it kind of lost its momentum a little bit, which is kind of why it's lower. But it goes back to what I was saying about Wes earlier. He truly, you could tell he was enjoying it. Him and Lacey had good chemistry. He was having fun with it, and also like. As much as I hate my HOA, it kind of makes me a little bit thankful that I'm not in this HOA because I would get kicked out. I would have citations and it would not include going to a ugly Christmas sweater. I'm sure about that. So anyways, I think based off of all of his movies and just his performance and of course the gang, it's number 9. We'll see what Stephanie and Leigh Anne think.
Leigh Anne, this is your first up in the order for this round because Erin played this. What do you think about this?
I actually had it higher up in the list. But like Erin said, it wasn't I didn't like it as much as the original Haul Out the Holly. And I was just kind of like, where am I going to put this one? So I did have a higher up, but I'm not going to fight on it. I'm good with it being at number 9.
Leigh Anne's going to let it ride. She's good with it. Stephanie, how about you? You're going to break up the love fest? What's going to happen here?
I agree with everything that Erin said. I also did have it higher up though, like Leigh Anne. I think I just love just all the characters, well, minus the Jolly Johnsons. I think unfortunately they were so unlikable in it. It was hard to they never really redeemed themselves, even though they tried to at the end. But I do really appreciate that they had several jokes in the first one continue through to the second one. So we get to revisit her love of Nickelback, the Nutcracker on the porch, and is it as tall as it's supposed to be? Like things like that. And so that made it still really fun. I'm not going to veto it, but I also did have it higher up.
So Haul Out the Holly lit up stands at number 9. I do love Nickelback. I'm not going to be ashamed of that. The looks
I
of
do
disgust.
too. You're not alone.
Oh, good. Thank you. Finally. I'm over here on this island by myself for so many reasons that the listeners don't know about yet. But yay. I at least have mild support on Nickelback. Okay, that's great. While we're waiting, Leigh Anne, for you to make your very first pick ever, Erinbeth, what did you think of Haul Out the Holly lit up and the Jolly Johnsons?
when you take it by itself and don't compare anything, it's a decent movie. I will say I purely didn't like it because of the Jolly Johnsons. Like that, up until the point that they showed up, I really enjoyed. I mean, that whole thing about the cruller at the meeting where they're, I mean, just was the best. It was comedy at its best. They were so funny. And then the Jolly Johnsons showed up, and suddenly, it really was when that stranger shows up in your friend group that nobody gets along with situation. So I think it's Nina's perfect place for it. I think it's better than a lot of the things we have, but it's not the best. It's on the list.
It's on the list, and that's what counts. All right, Leigh Anne, we've given you plenty of time. You're going to make history now. It's your very first pick. It's going to define you for the rest of your HMD career.
Oh,
What's
God,
it going to be?
don't say that. It's just number 8. I went with Under the Autumn Moon with Lindy Booth, primarily because I was a huge Librarians fan when it was on TV with Lindy Booth. And I don't know if anybody else has ever watched The Librarians, but I really enjoyed it with her. And I thought it was just a really cute movie. I thought they both had great chemistry together, and it was super cute. So
it is a cute movie. That's
yes.
Lindy Booth is Alex. It's from 2013. So
yes. And her
she's
boss
like
wasn't the evil person like the other bosses were. Like
Yeah.
at the, he came and he was like, yes, I like nature too. Let's do it, the way you want to. So
and Casey Manderson is in this. He plays Ben, and he's always so good. He's been in a million Hallmark movies, and he's especially good as a bad guy or a gaslighter. So
they're
in
evil.
this one, Lindy Booth is Alex, and she convinces her boss that there's this really lovely ranch that would be perfect for their company retreats. And so she goes to check it out. But when she gets there, the owner, who is Wes Brown, Josh in the movie, is very charming. He's a cowboy, but he refuses to have anything to do with this. He doesn't want to sell it to her company unless they can preserve its history. So you basically know how it's all going to turn out. But through it all, there's a lot of good chemistry, great scenery. As I said, Casey Manderson always delivers. So props to him as far as I'm concerned, but my vote doesn't count. What do you think, Erin? You're first up in the veto order.
I loved this movie. I loved them together. I think Lindy Booth is great. She should be in more Hallmark movies. One of my notes at the end of the movie is they are dancing really close and it's hot. So apparently their chemistry was working for me. I'm torn because I really feel like it should be higher. I hate these vetoes. That's why I carry them over because I never know when to use them.
You can redeem them for all kinds of prizes.
Right.
They're worthless. Use them.
Exactly, right? The only thing is I have a really solid, I don't know what to do. Oh, goodness gracious.
I think you should use it.
I know you do, Stephanie. I listened to your Falls Field Draft at 1:00 this morning, and I know how you feel about this movie.
Oh, there's some behind the scenes gameplay coming into this.
So I'm thinking I shouldn't, and see if Stephanie is going to.
There you go. Make her use her veto. Sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna let it ride. I do think it should be higher, but let's see if Stephanie will use her veto.
Well, Stephanie started to get up out of her chair. I thought she was going to walk off, but she didn't. She was just repositioning. She's gathering her thoughts. Stephanie, did Erin's strategy work? Are you going to veto Under the Autumn Moon from 2018 or not?
I'm so torn because I do love this movie so much. They have great chemistry. I love this movie so much. I'm debating because the list in general and his list of movies, quite a range.
This movie is about a home on the range. So.
That is true.
Stephanie said she really enjoys those type of movies, if I remember correctly.
I do love a movie about people on a ranch.
Did you say horse?
Did I say horse? Exactly. I'm not going to use a veto. I'll
Oh,
let it stand.
Fair.
okay. Leanne, congratulations. You got Under the Autumn Moon locked in. Number 8, your very first pick. Way to go. Way to go. And that brings us back to Stephanie at number 7. Let me just do a quick recap while Stephanie's thinking. We have Love Begins at number 10. At 9, it's Haul Out the Holly Lit Up. At 8 is Under the Autumn Moon. And at 7, what is it going to be, Stephanie? Decisions.
This is tough. I'm going to go with A Nashville Christmas Carol.
Oh, A Nashville Christmas Carol. So that's from 2020. Jesse Schramm is Vivienne. Wes Brown is Gavin. So this is, yet another Hallmark take on A Christmas Carol, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you've got a workaholic television producer. She's forced to work with the man who broke her heart years ago. And so she's forced to work with him on a country music special. And she's being interrupted by different Christmas spirits who warn her that her current path leads to a dark future. Kix Brooks is in this as the spirit of Christmas past. He's an actor, producer, composer. Kimberly Williams Paisley is the spirit of Christmas present. Winona Judd is in this. Al Mitchell is in this. Moses Jones. It's a solid cast. There's a lot of sass in this movie. There's a little sassy spin on the whole A Christmas Carol tropes. Tell us why you think this movie should be at number 7, Stephanie.
So I remember when I first watched this back in 2020, I felt very underwhelmed by it. And when I rewatched it, I was surprised that I enjoyed it. I actually was kind of dreading rewatching this one, but I was like, oh, this is better than I remember. It might have helped that I had just worked on a 30-page paper for school, but we're just gonna, go with that as well. Overall, it was just a great cast of characters. I love all of the country singers that were in it. I love Sarah Evans. I thought she did great in it. And I just thought how they talked about the Christmas spirit and everything was a lot of fun, and they just did a great job throughout. So
yeah. Do you like Jessie Schramm? I love her movies. I mean, I know a lot of them are not the best, but she always delivers.
Yeah, she does a great job. And I also thought Wes had a good amount of screen time. It's always hard with the male leads, like sometimes they're just not on screen a ton. And I thought this was the one where he was still on screen a lot, even though obviously it was still so focused on her.
Yeah, absolutely. Erin, what do you think about A Nashville Christmas Carol for number 7?
I think it's perfect at number 7. I think for all the things that Stephanie said, she's absolutely right. I also had the same experience where I didn't love it the first time through. The second time, I was like, wow, this is actually a lot more endearing than I remembered. One of the things I know that's kind of controversial is that they don't have the ghost of a future in there. And the more I was thinking about that, I'm like, maybe that's actually a good thing. Maybe that's because your future is yet for you to like determine and figure out for yourself. And maybe you shouldn't be shown everything. So I kind of like appreciated that the more I watched the movie. I love Jessie Schramm as well. Completely agree with Stephanie that with the female leads, it's so much easier than with the male leads because they're not always on screen very much. But Wes's character was great. So yeah, I love it at 7, and I think it's a great pick.
Great pick. And that's really, I love what you had to say about the whole Ghost of Christmas Future not being part of it as it typically is. That was very thoughtful. You should write a Hallmark movie. That was very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Leigh Anne, you're going to crush everyone's dreams at a Nashville Christmas Carol at number 7. You're going to let it ride. You're going to veto it. I know how bloodthirsty you are. You cannot fool me with that sweet little, Carolina accent. And shucks, I'm just here to have a good time. Yeah, no, I see it. I see it in your face.
I wanted to, but there are other movies that I absolutely detest that I'm waiting to show up in this countdown. So I'm saving mine for those. I had this higher up in the list because I really like this movie. I thought it was cute. I love Jesse Schramm as well. But I will let it ride.
You're going to let it ride. We are grooving right along. That brings us
Yeah.
to Erin to give us the number 6 pick. Erinbeth, what do you think of like the whole A Christmas Carol trope overall for Hallmark? Do you think they do it pretty well?
I I love the remix of A Christmas Carol. I think it was just growing up like that. Just that was the Christmas story that you heard over and over again. And I did hear you, Erin. I just don't accept that you should have a Christmas Carol remake without the Ghost of Christmas Future. I hear what you're saying. I can see it, but I guess I'm just not at the point in my maturity that I can accept the Ghost of Christmas Future should always be there. But as an 80s and 90s country fan, I don't listen to country anymore, but I did when I was growing up. I love the movie. I love seeing all the old country stars. But I do know that at the end of that movie, when I first watched it, I was so upset. It was like I wondered which country star backed out last minute. They had to rewrite the whole thing. Get rid of Ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh my gosh, you know what? You might have something there. Can we all at least agree that Kix Brooks is the best name ever, whether you're a singer or an actor? I mean,
Yeah.
Kix.
Amen.
Bring it, bring it, bring it. Okay, Erin, what are you thinking for number 6? We're almost halfway through this list, and no vetoes have been thrown. You've been playing with love.
Yeah, it's like the Hunger Games is getting ready to start soon. Every time a bell rings.
Every time a bell rings. All right. So Erin Cahill is in this. She's Charlotte. Wes Brown is Liam, their childhood friend. It's from 2021. And it's 3 sisters reunite in their hometown. And they discover that their late father planned one last scavenger hunt for them to find the family's wishing bell. It's an annual holiday tradition. So they search for clues and they bond, they rekindle, they find hope and healing. Did I say Wes Brown is the best friend from childhood? That seems to be a theme. So, why do you like this one for number 6?
So I'll be honest, I really struggled where to put this movie because as Stephanie and I just talked about, I don't feel like that there was a lot of Wes Brown in it. That being said, for it to be a Hallmark movie, I felt it was pretty progressive with dealing with the grief and having the same-sex couple and the all the kids being all the girls being adopted. And so I really appreciated what this movie was trying to do for a Hallmark movie. So I think for that, it should be represented. I did think that Wes, as always, was very strong with his performance. He was just kind of a really good friend to them all. And he really helped them kind of just redevelop their relationship as sisters, but also reconnect with Christmas. And also, like, the more they talked about losing their father and how to handle that, the more I was like, wow, this is making me really miss my dad. So I got a little bit of sads in there. But then finally, the mom, when she was talking to Charlotte about Charlotte reaching out to her bio mom, and she was like, I would have wanted to thank her, like immediate tears. I was like, that is one of the sweetest things, and such a great way to deal with adoption and encouraging your child to reach out to their bio parents. Not that I have any experience with that, but that seems like a beautiful way to approach it. So there we go.
Wow, this is one of the movies that I didn't rewatch because I miss my dad a lot, and this movie made me sad the first time that I watched it. But listening to your interpretation of it, I think I'm going to watch it again because you brought up some really beautiful points about why this is a good movie. And now we will all learn whether or not Leanne agrees with you.
I'm first up.
Whenever Erin picks a movie, you are first in the hot seat.
I had this one not in my top 10 at all because I felt like there was not enough Wes Brown in it. And I felt like the love story involving Wes Brown was not deserved, because it kind of like seemed to be a last minute thought. Like all of a sudden he and Erin Cahill were kissing. I'm like, what? Like they never like expressed interest, or like he was just a friend. Where is this coming from? And I was just like, no, I don't like it. And this is really hard because I mean, there are valid reasons with the father storyline and all, but damn. Oh,
But you have two, but damn is okay. And you have two damn vetoes. So what are you gonna do?
I don't know if I want to. Oh, this is really, this is hard. This is number
This is
7.
number 6.
6.
Every time
Oh.
a bell rings, it's number 6. You're running out of runway.
Yeah, okay, I'll veto it.
Oh, Leigh Anne, told you she was ruthless, cutthroat, gone, crossing every time a bell rings out of number 6. For now, it just takes it out of that
Yeah.
position, doesn't take it out of the game. Erin and her pretty pink headphones could come back with a devious gleam in her eye and play it higher up if she wants to. But for now, you have to give us a replacement for number 6, please, Erin. What's going to go in its place?
Christmas at Graceland.
Christmas at Graceland. All right. So Kelly Pickler, it's a Kelly Pickler movie. This is from 2018. She's Laurel. Wes Brown is Clay. She's a Chicago-based business executive. She goes to her hometown in Memphis to close a lucrative deal over, I don't know, I think it's like a family-owned bank. And while she's in town, she bumps into her old flame, Clay, and he's a local music promoter with very lofty aspirations. And though Laurel tries to stay focused on her work, Clay pulls her back into the days when they were a performing duo on the brink of stardom. And Laurel finds herself drawn to the city of blues and Clay as she dreams of making music once again. And this was actually filmed at Elvis Presley's estate, Graceland. So why do you like this one as your replacement pick for number 6?
So going back to not enough Wes, I feel like there was a good amount of Wes in this movie. I will fully admit Kelly Pickler, she's a hard watch. She might want to stick to singing. But the movie overall I thought was good. It's your stereotypical type of Hallmark where, she's a big businesswoman. She moves back. She finds the spirit of Christmas. She falls in love, all of that. But I do think that Wes was really, really good with the daughter. He's so good with kids in these movies. He could tell he was kind of carrying the weight of the movie, but he also, like, I felt you could see that he really was trying to make it seem like he really did care for her and develop those feelings. They were on screen quite a bit together. Unlike, in the past movie where Charlotte and him weren't, I do think that Kelly Pickler and Wes had a lot of good screen time together, so the relationship did feel a bit more earned.
Okay, Leigh Anne, what do you think?
Like
this one better?
Yes, I was just reading my notes. I was like, Pickler, ugh. Wes with beard, yay, cuter than expected.
That's fair.
So I like this one. Yeah, Kelly Pickler was a lot better in this movie than she was in the Mistletoe Secret. Is that the name?
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
She
With
was
Tyler
god
Hynes.
awful in that, but in this, she was at least bearable. Like Erin said, she was a hard watch, but it was like not as awful as the other movie. And yeah, Wes with a beard, yay, he was hot.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
good with
Stephanie.
it.
She's good with it. Stephanie is just holding her head thinking, why did I agree to this draft? Why did I agree to this one? I got Kelly Pickler.
Erin always does a really good job of like giving her reasons for why she picked something. And it almost made me forget how much I dislike this movie. So, and I'm really glad I saved my veto because I'm going to veto this. This was my 14th out of 15, and I think this was strategy on Erin's part, maybe. Um, maybe not, but yeah, I'm gonna use my veto. So
She is using her veto. Kelly Pickler is off of the list for now. So this is going to be Erin's third attempt. I was quickly trying to look up when Kelly Pickler made that movie with Tyler Hines, but I can't do six things at once. So go ahead, Erin.
Oh, darn. Sorry, I'm thinking. June and January.
June and January. All right. So that's Brooke Dorsey is June. That's from 2014. A newly engaged bride dreamed of her wedding day with her late mother for her entire life and is looking forward to planning every perfect detail to honor her mom's memory. But her special day is nearly ruined by her intimidating future mother in law and her fiance's sudden work transfer, which pushes her perfect outdoor June wedding ceremony up to a January date, just 3 weeks away. And Marilu Henner is in this as June's future mother-in-law. This is a good cast. Who doesn't love Brooke Dorsey, right? Tell us about why you chose June and January for your third attempt, knowing that what you really wanted was every time a bell rings.
Yeah. Okay. So what I really liked about this movie, what is it? It wasn't your I keep saying that stereotypical Hallmark. They were an already together couple. They got engaged, so you were able to actually see them after, they've have an established relationship. I was kind of caught off guard by like this was what year? I'm sorry, 2014. They had like at that very first scene when they went to the party and she got proposed to, like I was like, those are some short dresses for Hallmark. So that kind of just stuck out. I don't know why. But more importantly, I really loved their relationship. I know that Mary Lou Henner was kind of like the meddling mom and she didn't really want Wes to get married. And I really loved how both June and Wes Brown's character stood up for their relationship, both to Mary Lou Henner, the female Baxter, and they really just you could tell that they really cared about each other. I loved that. I loved the relationship. There was a lot of really endearing moments when he would like they would steal kisses or they'd be doing wedding plans and sitting together and you could see the connection, you could see the chemistry. Did I think Brooke was a little bit ridiculous with trying to plan a wedding in 3 weeks? Absolutely. It is another wedding planning movie, but that is typical genre for Hallmark. But really, it boiled down to their strong relationship and how much they truly cared about each other and how they were willing to fight for it.
Well said. And Erin is willing to fight for this movie to be at number 6 because she's out of ideas, I think, for the sixth position. She doesn't want to tap into her super favorites. So once again, Leigh Anne, it is up to you. You still have a veto left. What do you think of June and January?
I don't like this movie. I hate wedding planning movies. I thought Brooke D'Orsay, however you pronounce her name, I love her, but my God, she's so whiny. But I don't know if I want to use veto again for this one. As much as I hate it, I think I'm just going to let it stand.
I think that's a wise choice because you still have half a list to go. So
I know.
Leigh Anne's gonna hold her nose and say, sure, let's have this one at number 6. So Stephanie, if I did my math correctly, you just have an override left, right? You used your one veto, but I still want to hear your thoughts because your thoughts are important to all of us. What do you think of this movie now that it's going to stay at number 6? What do you think of June and January?
So I had similar thoughts to Erin on this movie. I would say though, I thought Wes's character is like a little like blah. Like I feel like he's kind of like boring. But when he tells off that like assistant and tells her that she's manipulative, I'm like, am I watching a Hallmark movie? Like, what is this world we're watching? Like, it was unreal. So that part actually, I was like, yes. So that made it into my top 10 just for that scene alone. So, but I thought the placement is very good.
Way to go. Okay, Erin, third time was a charm. We've got June and January locked in at number 6. Leigh Anne, while you're thinking about what you might want to offer for number 5, I'll do a quick state of the list. At 10, we have Love Begins. At 9, Call Out the Holly Lit Up. At 8, Under the Autumn Moon. At 7, A Nashville Christmas Carol. At 6, took us a while to get to it, but we locked in June in January. And so at number 5, Leigh Anne, what are you thinking?
I have Christmas cookies for number 5. Go ahead and hate me if you want, but it made me want cookies so bad. I love this movie. I'll tell you, the first couple of times I watched it, like I've seen this movie multiple times, but I was rewatching it again, and the whole time I was watching it, I was like, damn, I want cookies. Wes was looking like superiorly hot in this movie. Like, I don't know. It was maybe he had a glow up or something. I don't know. He just looked so hot in this movie too. I was like, yeah. So this was my number 5. All the Christmas feels too. I love the Christmas feels from it.
So Christmas Cookies is from 2016. Jill Wagner is his co-star. She's Hannah. Wes Brown is Jake. There's Aunt Sally's Christmas Cookie Company. It's sold to a large conglomerate, and Hannah's an executive, and she's got to seal the deal and shut down the factory, which is the small town of, yes, cookie jars. In case you were wondering what the theme was, the town's name is Cookie Jars. What was supposed to be a simple assignment for Hannah becomes complicated when she meets Jake, the factory owner who's determined to keep the factory in town. Despite not being a fan of the holiday, the Christmas spirit in the small town is infectious, and Hannah gets swept up in the joy of the season while also falling in love. Any other reasons why you love Christmas cookies for number 5 on this list, the halfway point?
Like Jill Wagner. I thought she was really good in this too. I mean, yeah. So,
all right, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on Christmas cookies?
Does it go to me first?
Oh,
right.
It goes to
yes.
Erin,
I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. Yes, Erin. Sorry.
Well, I wanted to do it right because I am going to veto it. So just in case Stephanie wants to do a veto override, I wanted to give her the option. I'm sorry, Leigh Anne. I did not necessarily care for this movie. Yes, Wes was looking great, but there were so many wait whats. I won't list all of them, but like they were literally negotiating on the middle of the floor, like the factory floor. And I'm like, really? Can you just go to an office and actually have a conversation? I didn't like the fact that she deceived him. I mean, she was flirting with him. They were building a relationship. She had a boyfriend back home. Yes. Was he horrible? Yes. But she did. He deceived her at the very beginning, pretending to be the cab driver. So I for all those reasons, I just didn't care for it. The whole recipe debacle at the end of the movie didn't quite make sense to me. And then also just what white chocolate milk? Who wants that? It just sounds disgusting. So for those reasons, I will veto.
I forgot about the white chocolate milk.
Yeah.
But thank you for getting me back into the correct order, because you never know. Strange things happen at Hallmark Movie Drafts. Stephanie, are you going to override her veto of this movie at number 5?
I'm not going to override it, but it's a weird movie. I mean, I enjoy it, but like it's weird. The whole like the town owns the cookie, that's the weirdest speech, I think. I mean, there's a lot of weird speeches in Hallmark movies. That's got to be towards the top of the list. So, but I agree, there's lots of good Christmas feels, Leigh Anne. And it did make me want to eat cookies. So I was like, do I have shortbread in my house?
Yeah.
Sadly, I did not, but
I love it. All right, Erin, you're gonna have to or excuse me, Leigh Anne, you're gonna have to pick a different title, please. And while you're thinking of that, Erinbeth, what are your feelings on Christmas cookies and the town of Cookie Jar?
Oh my gosh, the name of that. I mean, come on, Hallmark, do better. That is the most ridiculous thing. And I'm going to stand next to Stephanie with the town owns the cookie. I'm thinking this is a corporation buying this place, in that contract, they said, we are going to own the cookie recipe. It was the most ridiculous thing. Is it on my list? Yes, but I think we all know why. We've got to put something on the list. And I do love Jill Wagner. I really do. So it was a bizarre movie. It just was weird.
I think we all know why. All right, Leigh Anne, we've given you plenty of time. What is going to be your replacement pick for number 5?
I'm going to go with Love Under the Stars.
Love Under the Stars. All right, 2015. Ashley Newbrow is Becca. Wes Brown is Nate. Young at heart graduate student Becca strikes up an unlikely friendship with Emily, a quiet girl who recently lost her mother. And during their time together, Becca helps Emily come out of her shell and cope with her loss. And Emily teaches Becca more about grown-up responsibility. And when a romance develops between Becca and Emily's father, Nate, they must learn to balance their new relationship with his responsibility to Emma and Becca's responsibility to finish her thesis. Barry Bostwick also stars in this, and he's always a good time. So, Love Under the Stars. Tell us why you've chosen this for number 5.
I just really liked this movie. I liked the whole plot of, the daughter never really grieving her mother, and the fact that Ashley Newbrow apparently had never grieved the loss of her mother. And I cried when she was reading The Velveteen Rabbit to the daughter, and she was crying when she was reading it, and I was crying while I was watching it. So, I was like, oh, this is so sweet. And I never knew Ashley Newbrow had plastic surgery until I saw this movie. I was like, shocker. I did not know that. I was like, that's not what she looks like.
So let me just say, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to get sued. I'm just going to say allegedly.
I looked up the pictures immediately, girl.
There's no alleged.
But I enjoyed this movie so much more than I had like in previous viewings, because I think I had kind of just like seen different parts of it and had never like sat and watched the whole movie. And then when I did sit and watch the whole movie, I thought I really liked it. So I originally had this at number 6, but since my number 5 is knocked out, I'll put in my number 6. So.
Okay, so Love Under the Stars. So Erin, I think 2 of my favorite childhood books that my parents would read to me. One was The Velveteen Rabbit, which always made me sad, and the other one is The Giving Tree, which is equally sad. I don't know why my parents were trying to make me cry, but there you have it. Did you ever have The Velveteen Rabbit read to you, or did you ever read it as a kid?
I actually did not. And so watching this movie made me think I need to read The Velveteen Rabbit. The Wishing Tree, the other one that you mentioned, Lynn, that was one of my favorites growing. The Giving Tree, yes.
The Giving Tree.
I love that one. I adored this movie. I even watched it again last night to see if I was, I don't know, out of my mind when I watched it and fell in love with it the first time. I had it actually higher on my list, because we're at number 5, right? Yes.
We're at number 5, yeah.
So I did have it higher. I don't think I want to use my last veto. For everything Leigh Anne said, the way that they handled the grief, I also really loved Ashley's character, how strong she was, how she was kind of fighting the patriarchy a little bit. At one point, she told her mentor that she can flirt with any guy she wants and still get her thesis done. And I was like, that's right. We can do things like that, and it's okay. So I loved her strong female presence, especially in a Hallmark movie from almost 9 years ago. So I'm really happy that I wasn't the only one who liked it. I thought I was going to have to fight for it. So I'm glad that Leigh Anne played it, and here we are.
Here we are. And it is locked in at number 5 because Stephanie doesn't have a veto. She has a veto override. But Stephanie, what did you think about this movie?
I also like this movie. I don't have it as high as both of you, but it is in my top 10. I think the relationships are great. I think the little girl with Ashley Newborough's character is really sweet. I do struggle, like only because I'm working on my PhD right now, I struggle with the lack of ethics around doing her like research on this girl that she's working with and has a personal relationship with. But at the same time, I don't go to Hallmark for reality. So I'm also just like, okay, it's fine. So the movie is really sweet. I think they handled some things really well. And I agree. I feel like for all the different grief movies, this one it feels very different. Um, and I appreciate that they do it through the lens also like of kids as well, which is different for Hallmark.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do know that you're working on your PhD. Are you flirting while you're working on your PhD?
Well, of course.
Of course. So,
As you should.
as,
Of course.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. When are you going to be finished?
Well, I shouldn't say hopefully. May of 2025.
Wow, way to go. Keep us
Thanks.
posted. That's a lot of
Thanks.
work. Congratulations. Congratulations on all of that. All right. So that brings us to Erin for the number 4 pick. I don't know, Erinbeth, everyone is playing pretty much with love, even when they're vetoing. It's going to be, they're running out of runway though. There's only four slots left.
I don't know. Sometimes this is where the gloves come off. And others, they just feel like they have bonded over the trauma of watching this set of movies, that maybe they're just feeling like this is where we get together and we just bond over it.
Yeah, but I'm not bonding with them quite yet because my Austin Absolute for number 1 has not yet. Stop snickering. You should see these faces because they all know. They all know what mine is, even though they don't know my list, but they know me well enough to know. And I'm horrified. I'm horrified by all of this. But we'll
And
get
can
to
I
that.
just say that when everyone finds out what your number 1 is, I never ever want to hear any grief about Beverly Hills Wedding ever again.
Not even
That's
in the
all I
same
have to
playing
say.
field. No, no, not even close. Not even close. All right. All right, Erin, what are we going to do? What are we going to do for number 4 here?
I just want to say to Lynn, when you say your number 1, can you please make your case for it? Because I'm flabbergasted and I
Oh,
really want to understand.
I will. I will. I could do an entire show on that one movie with that would get really bad listening reviews and ratings.
Okay, so for number 4, Sweet Pecan Summer.
Great. Sweet Pecan Summer. Terrific. Sweet Pecan Summer is from 2021. Christine Coe is Amanda. Wes Brown is JP. Love never falls far from the tree. Or does it? Right? Amanda works at a cosmetic company and she needs a break and she heads back to where she grew up, her Aunt Carol's pecan farm. When she arrives, she learns that her aunt wants to sell the farm. Amanda must work with her ex-boyfriend, JP, to sell the pecan farm. He's a real estate dude. So, putting aside their differences, old feelings start to rekindle and they question their life paths. Aunt Carol is a little bit of a thirsty liar, as far as I'm concerned. She basically fakes having an injured wrist to get Amanda to come back, and she wants to sell her pecan farm to move away with her boyfriend. I'm just saying, thirsty liar. Okay, Erin, why do you like this movie?
I thoroughly enjoyed the banter between Christine and Wes. I thought it was hilarious. The back and forth was great. It was fast. It was witty. I like even when he was like, she put the brush in front of the for sale sign. I'm like, well, that's a really not smart thing to do. You do want to sell the place, but just to get back at him, I thought was hilarious. The side character of Wes's best friend was really funny. This is another movie where Wes is reconnecting with one of his childhood friends or someone he knew from his past. So that was fun. Yes, her aunt was a liar, but also her aunt is to the point where she wants to move on with her life. She's ready to sell the farm. She's ready to be happy. And I think that, you can find love and happiness at any stage of your life, and you can do that by letting go of something else, which is hard to do. So that was kind of a beautiful sentiment. And also, growing up, my grandfather and grandmother had a pecan tree in their front yard, and I have so many memories of my grandpa just sitting there and just collecting the pecans, and getting the pecan out of the shell and making all sorts of fun pecan different foods my grandma would make. So there was a little bit of nostalgia kind of worked into it for me as well. But it does boil down to just the absolute wittiness and relationship of Wes and Christine.
What a beautiful memory to have of the pecan
Yeah.
tree with your grandfather. I think that's lovely, absolutely lovely. Um, wow, I'm touched. I'm actually
Oh.
tearing up.
Oh.
Okay, so Leanne, it's up to you. How can you
I like
stomp on that reasoning?
no, I like this movie a lot, and I'm not even gonna fight or anything on it. I'm good.
You're good.
It
She's
was
good.
super cute. I enjoyed it. Every time I watched it, I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, that was fast. This Sweet Pecan Summer is locked in at number 4. But Stephanie, as I've been saying, your voice is important. We want to hear from you. What do you think of this movie at number 4? Not that you can change it, but what are your thoughts?
You know, it's funny. When I first watched this movie when it came out, I loved this movie. I just remember thinking like, I don't know, I remember feeling like it was really different for Hallmark and I don't know, I just really loved it. I rewatched it for this and I found it really boring. I don't know, I don't know why like such a difference for me, but anyway, I didn't love it as much this time around, but um I don't know, after though hearing Erin talk about it, I'm like, well, maybe I need to try it again. So,
Erin is a lot like Elizabeth when she plays this game. She's very convincing and she can like sell a movie to anybody. I think, Erin, I don't know what your current career is, but you've got
Yeah. Are
you
you
should
a
get into
lawyer?
you should get into PR, definitely.
No, I'm an accounting manager of all things.
Oh my God. Throw those numbers away. Math is hard. You should be talking for a living.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness. All right. So, Stephanie, it is up to you for number 3. I'm going to give a state of the list here. We've got Love Begins at 10, Call Out the Holly Lit Up at 9, Under the Autumn Moon at 8, 7 is A Nashville Christmas Carol, 6 is June and January, 5 is Love Under the Stars, 4 is Sweet Pecan Summer, and number 3 from Stephanie might be what?
okay, this is tough because I feel like my top two, I'm like, do I do one of those or do I go with to make sure that like one of them, well, at least hopefully one of them gets on the list, or do I go with something further down that I also like really really like? I don't know.
Decisions.
I'm gonna put
Number
my
3 is hard.
3
I
is
was just saying,
hard.
number 3 is hard.
It's hard.
It's a hard spot.
Especially because his catalog is so interesting. I'm gonna put my trust in that. Yeah, I'm gonna put my trust that you all like the same movies that I do for the top ones. So for number 5, I'm gonna replay Every Time a Bell Rings.
For number 3,
Yep.
Every Time a Bell Rings. Okay, tell us why.
So I agree with everything that Erin said earlier. I actually feel like this was when I really struggled with where it should go on the list. So I didn't have it quite as high as number 3, mainly because Wes just wasn't in it a lot. I think overall it's one of the better movies that Hallmark has made in the last few years. Um, I just feel like the characters felt a lot more just like realistic. They felt just more fleshed out. And I just really enjoyed the sister relationships and everything they were going through. It just felt very, very relatable. Um, and so just like as an overall movie, I thought it was definitely one of the better ones that he was in. So
Okay, so Erin, you originally um, tried to play this at number 6. You do have a veto and a veto override left, but now it's at number 3 on the list. We've only got 2 titles left. Are you going to let Every Time a Bell Rings stay?
I am. I do think it's a little bit high, but I'm glad it's on the list. So yes, I will not veto.
So Stephanie's not going to veto it. Leigh Anne, it's up to you. Leigh Anne's just laughing. I told you, she's devious. I have no idea what she's going to do.
Honestly,
You have one
okay,
veto
like
left.
Stephanie said, and I believe Erin mentioned it as well. I have 3 sisters. I really appreciated the sister part of the movie. I appreciated the adoption and the way that they all got together. And I like that Erin Cahill met her real mother. My original problem with the movie was that there was not enough Wes, and I didn't feel like the love story with Wes was deserved. And that was the reason that I vetoed it initially. It wasn't that I didn't like the movie. However, now that it's at number 3, there's not anything else. I have a firm top 2. And there's nothing else that I see out there that I would replace for number 3 in lieu of this movie. So I will let it stay at number 3.
Every Time a Bell Rings is officially our number 3. Who would have thunk it? But it's there. It's there. And it's a great movie for all of the reasons that Erin said when she originally was pitching it, and that Leigh Anne and Stephanie both chimed in on. So I'm very curious now to see what Erin is going to offer up for the number 2 position. You're looking very thoughtful, Erin.
Well, I'm in the same predicament that Stephanie was in.
So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my number 2 through 7 picks have been played. I'm hoping that Leigh Anne and I are on the same page with the number 1. So I'm going to play Christmas at Graceland again.
Christmas at Graceland. Okay, tell us why.
Everything I said before that I don't remember what I said. Again, I think we just need to just, again, it is a Wes Brown draft. Wes Brown played a great character. I do enjoy seeing Wes sing. I know I said this before. I think Wes does really, really great with kids. I thought he had a really good relationship with Kelly Pickler's daughter. It was fun to watch. There are so many wait whats. I know that the movie isn't great, but if we're focusing on Wes, his performance was solid, and he really, really did carry the movie. So let's see if Leigh Anne uses that last veto or not.
Leigh Anne, this list is a reflection of the 3 of you. This is your list. When people think of the Wes Brown draft, they're going to think Stephanie, Leigh Anne, and Erin, and they're going to think Christmas at Graceland, number 3,
number 2.
Not.
Oh my God.
Or 2.
Number 2, right? Yeah.
Number 2. Oh my gosh.
Veto.
I know, honestly.
You're a troublemaker, Stephanie.
I liked Christmas at Graceland, so I'm really kind of, but
Stephanie, you put that out into the universe, girl.
Oh my God. So, what a dilemma. Because I'll veto. I'm going to veto it.
Wow.
I know.
Stephanie.
I'm like, but
Stephanie.
there's 2 that really need to be on this list, and there's only 2 left.
Yes. Thank you, Leigh Anne. I'm hoping we're thinking of the same ones.
Oh, please God.
But it makes me think that Erin does not like
I know.
my number 2.
Who has a veto left?
I do.
Erin has the vetoes. Stephanie is out of vetoes, except for an override. Leigh Anne is out of vetoes. So whatever comes out of Erin's mouth right now stays.
Yeah.
at number 2. This is a dangerous game you
Yeah,
two
it
just
is.
played.
This is where it gets tricky because now I'm like, do I want to play Dan and just play some off the wall horrible movie just to like wreck all of our lists? I don't
That's
know. Like,
Bran. That's
is
Bran.
that Bran?
That's Bran.
Oh, I don't know what to do. So, crap.
I know. While you're thinking,
Thank you.
I'm gonna read the list. I'm gonna read the list again. So we have 10 is Love Begins. At 9, Haul Out the Holly Lit Up. At 8, Under the Autumn Moon. At 7, A Nashville Christmas Carol. At 6, after many chances, we locked in June and January. At 5, Love Under the Stars. At 4, Sweet Pecan Summer. At 3, Every Time a Bell Rings. And at number 2, whatever Erin says is what it's going to be.
I'm pretty sure this would be your guys' number 2 or number 1 or number 2. If not, I really question your taste in movies. But I'm going to go. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna play Haul Out the Holly.
Haul Out the Holly,
Yeah.
the OG from 2022. So we've got Lacey Chabert again. It's Emily. Wes Brown is Jared. You've got the same great ensemble cast. Even Ellen Travolta makes an appearance. Like there's Melissa Peterman, Stephen Tobolowsky, Peter Jacobson. Palaha's got a cameo. Eric Mabius has a cameo. So Lacey is Emily. She comes home during the Christmas season hoping to visit her parents, only to discover that they are leaving on a trip of their own. And as she stays in their house, which is part of an HOA, the HOA folks are just determined to get Emily to participate in the neighborhood's many, many, many Christmas festivities. And Wes Brown plays Jared, her childhood friend, who is now head of enforcing the HOA rules about all things Christmas decor related. It's a blast. Tell us why you chose this for number 2.
You're right, Lynn. It absolutely is a blast. I don't think I've ever laughed out loud at a Hallmark movie as much as I did at Haul Out the Holly. They obviously, like we talked about earlier, they did not capture that magic in the second one, but the first one was truly a standout from 2022. I do think that Wes and Lacey had good chemistry. Lacey shined. She can just be herself and have fun. And I think that really played into how Wes is kind of reacting to things. We get Wes in glasses, which, hello, thank you for that, Hallmark. And please keep those coming. And just the storyline was hilarious. Again, all the side characters, but truly also the cameos you mentioned, Lynn. Seeing Palaha pop up and then Eric Mabius, it was just fun. It was, as a Hallmark fan, it was fun to see something different, something a little bit satire-ish, and then to see so many familiar faces and new ones that brought us great things such as, Stephen Tobolowsky and Melissa Peterman. It was fantastic. So, and they have no vetoes, so I think we're locked in. I hope so, because I can't pick another movie.
They're out of vetoes. It stays at number 2, but let's hear their reaction. So I'll still go in the veto order. So Leigh Anne, what's your reaction to Haul Out the Holly, the OG at number 2?
Love it. Love it. I love this movie. I also had it at number 2. So I am super excited that it got in there. That's why I was like, that's why I had to veto the other one. That was at the Graceland one. Yeah.
Way to go. What about you, Stephanie?
Oh yeah, this is my number 1. This is, I think, one of the best movies that Hallmark has ever made. The fact that it's making fun of itself. And it showed that Hallmark can be really funny. Who knew? I agree with everything that's been said. I feel like it just shows that Hallmark's in a new era. I thought it was magic. It was great.
It was magic. It was totally Christmas magic. And speaking of magic, we are now at the magical number of number 1, where our first time drafter, Leigh Anne, gets to pick what that movie is going to be. And the only person that could possibly stop her is Erin. So tell us what your choice is for the number 1 movie in this Wes Brown draft.
My number 1 pick is Check Into Christmas.
Check Into Christmas 2019. Rachel Boston is in this. She's Julia Crawley. Wes Brown is Ryan Mason. This is kind of a twist. It's like a hospitality in twist on the Hatfields and the McGraws, right? So there's two feuding families basically that have a long history together. In running the two inns that are in this little town, Crest Ridge. And when Rachel Boston or Julia comes back to town, she meets up with Wes Brown, and they try to get their families back together along common ground because there's a big conglomerate that wants to basically buy out the inns and make it into a big, big commercial resort. And they start to fall in love, right? So tell us why you think this movie should be number one. Actually, you don't have to tell us. You just need to tell Erin.
From the first time I watched this movie, I was absolutely just charmed by it. I have watched it. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched it. I have it saved in my DVR so I can watch it as like a comfort movie. I like everything about it. I just think that it's charming. It's so charming. And I thought that it was funny at the end of the Biltmore movie. I can't where he and Rachel Boston were at the end of that, and he's like, I think this is going to be better than Check Into Christmas. And she's like, what? I was like, yes, because that was such a cute movie. Yeah. So sorry, I'm not as well thought out. I love Erin's explanations for why she picks movies, that she's so well thought out. But I can just only tell you that the first time I saw this, I was charmed. I am repeatedly charmed. I am never bored by it. I will watch it every single time it's on. If it's halfway through, I will continue to, I'll stop and I'll watch it. So that is why it's my number one. I loved it.
I totally understand that feeling. I feel the same way about a particular Wes Brown movie myself.
Yeah, I used to like that one as well, but then I watched it this last time. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, and
I didn't ask for your opinion on that. I'm sorry, Stephanie, I want to know your opinion on. I love you, Leah. Stephanie, I want to know what your thoughts are on Check Into Christmas for number one. I know you can't stop it, but what do you think? Was this your number one?
Well, does Erin go next?
Well, she's going to be, I'm saving her for like the suspense. Is she going to, veto it or not?
I love this movie. This was my number two. This is one I've watched so many times over the years. I just love I agree with Leigh Anne. It's just a lot of fun. I just think it's also really charming. I think Rachel and Wes have really good chemistry. I think besides Lacey, I think she's probably one of the next best in that regards. I think also it's just like a movie that's full of shenanigans, and they're fighting big business, and they're two do-gooders of feuding families, and they're working together to like make things happen. And I just thought it's a lot of fun and like a secret romance, and just, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's all good. All right, before we get to Erin to see whether or not she's going to veto it or let it stand at number one, Erinbeth, what do you like Check Into Christmas? Is this one of your favorite Wes Brown movies?
I think it's a really cute movie. And they play off each other really well. I think that the chemistry is really good. And I like it's the shenanigans. It's fun. The family's fighting, they're trying to get them together. I think it's a good spot. I mean, I could have been number two instead of one, but
it's okay.
But we'll let it ride. I think it's a really cute movie, and I enjoy watching it every time I watch it.
So, Erin, no pressure. It's all on you. You're the only one that has a veto left. Now, Erin, I want to encourage you to really think about this. Is there another movie that might possibly deserve to be number one other than this one?
So the answer is yes. Haul Out the Holly should have been number one. But there was a little bit of gameplay when I played Haul Out the Holly at number two. So I personally think Check Into Christmas at number one is way, way too high. I feel like I'm missing something with this movie, but Leanne and Stephanie, you both make really compelling arguments. I feel like I should go back and watch it. I must be missing something. I did enjoy Al Borland popping up. I did enjoy, just like you said, the shenanigans. It just didn't do it for me. That being said, if any of the other movies that we haven't played made it as number one on this list, we would all be banned as double deckers. Like seriously. Sorry, Lynn. So it was on my list. It was just much, much, much lower. But Leanne, you made a great argument too, and I love that you love it so much. I can just tell, and that's really sweet. So yeah, we will let it ride at number one. Do I love it? No, but here we are, and it's better than, oh, I don't know, Love's Everlasting Courage, which seriously was an everlasting movie that would never stop. So yeah.
Congratulations, you guys. You did it. We'll get to the reading of the final list in a few minutes, but for right now, that was quite a battle. You made it through the 10. It was an interesting list of eligible movies. It was challenging to see where everything was going to land and what was picked and what wasn't picked. So first, we're going to go to the side hustle that Erin, Beth, and I have. So Erin, Beth, tell us what your top 10 movies were, 10th to first, please.
All right, starting at number 10, Under the Autumn Moon, Love Under the Stars, Love Begins, Christmas Cookies, A Nashville Christmas Carol, June in January, Haul Out the Holly Lit Up, Every Time a Bell Rings, Check Into Christmas, and Haul Out the Holly, the original, the OG.
The OG. Awesome. So
The
how many
OG.
points did you get?
I got 10 points because of Erin's gameplay.
Wow. All right. Are you going to score mine when I read my list?
It's already
Please.
scored. So read your list and I'll let you know.
Okay. So here's my list. At 10, I have Love Under the Stars. At 9, Sweet Pecan Summer. At 8, Christmas Cookies. At 7, Under the Autumn Moon. At 6, Check Into Christmas. At 5, June and January. At 4, Haul Out the Holly Lit Up. At 3, A Nashville Christmas Carol. At 2, Haul Out the Holly, OG. And at number one, there is no debate. There is no number one alternative to this. It is Over the Moon in Love, people. Wes Brown, Jessica Lowndes. It's got Giles Panton, Nelson Wong, Miranda Frigone. Jessica wrote this. There's singing. Wes Brown sings. I mean, honestly, I don't understand the reluctance. I can't believe that you would pick a Kelly Pickler movie over a Jessica Lowndes movie. I'm shocked. You should see the reactions. I'm getting no support here. I'm getting laughter and dilated pupils. Look, I know Jessica Lowndes is not the best actress in the world. I don't know why I love this movie. I just do. I have no other reasons than that.
I do
Do you
think it's
like
her.
Wes? Go
Oh,
ahead, Stephanie.
I would say I do think it's her best performance in one of these movies. But I think Wes's character, like, I just don't believe that he's dumb enough to fall for like the whole charade of her telling Stephanie that, like, teaching her how to pretend, like, all the information. Like, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I'm sorry, Lynn.
It's
She was the
okay.
villain and the heroine all in one in the same movie. And I didn't
Yes.
realize it until the last time I watched it because I actually used to like this. And then I watched it last week and I was like, oh my God, she's awful. She is like forcing Wes Brown, and she owns a business where she's supposed to be a matchmaker. It's just villain and heroine in one movie. And she wrote it. I'm just shocked.
Yeah.
Which just shows her range. It shows her versatility.
Of being
No.
horrible. Like what I didn't like was that she was so proud about the fact that she had 100% success rate. I mean, that was like her number one, like as a business person, like that's her thing. And yet she's willing to put her whole entire reputation and her business on the line for a fake relationship where she's deceiving one of her best friends. I mean, Leanne's right. She's a horrible person. So
Mhm.
There's no
You know,
argument
I
there.
will say I started watching this movie the first time it came on, and Wes Brown was in it, and I've always liked Wes Brown, and I'm like, this is going to be a good movie. And we get about 2 seconds into it, and they have Jessica and Wes playing teenagers. Like every other show gets younger actors. No, we're going to get these two very adult actors and have them put a beanie on with some long Justin Bieber bangs. And I was like, this is a
fake
terrible
nose
movie.
on
I knew.
Wes? Yeah. Wasn't there like a
Oh, what
fake
it
nose
was.
on Wes or something too? There was
It
something
was
weird.
bad.
So
Yeah.
bad.
So bad it
Bad.
was good. It was so good. That's okay.
You know, I'm glad that some people enjoy it, Lynn. It's good that there are people out there that enjoyed it.
I
I
mean,
love you,
some
Stephanie.
people or some person.
Sure, there's one person that enjoyed the
That's
movie. There was
It's
one
me.
person.
It's me. I get it. It's not for everyone.
We
All
love
right.
you.
How did I do? How did I do?
You actually did 9 points, and I did.
Oh,
So you only lost by 1 point, even
yeah.
with putting Over the Moon on there. But once again, that is because of Erin's gameplay. It
I
should
thank you,
not have
Erin.
gone that way.
I thank you, Erin. All right, let's hear your personal top 10 list. And I'm going to go in the veto order. So Erin, we're going to start with you, please. What did you have for your personal top 10 list?
All right. Number 10, I couldn't decide. I did Christmas at Graceland. 9 was Hall at the Holly Lit Up. 8, Check into Christmas. 7, A Nashville Christmas Carol. 6, Every Time a Bell Rings. 5, June and January. 4, Sweet Pecan Summer. 3, Under the Autumn Moon. 2, Love Under the Stars. And 1, Haul Out the Holly, the OG.
Great. Were there any on that list that we didn't talk about?
No.
No, I think all of them were on there. Leigh Anne, how about you? What was your top 10 list, please?
For number 10, I had Love Begins. For number 9, I had Christmas at Graceland. For 8, Under the Autumn Moon. 7 was Sweet Pecan Summer, and I'm Southern, and it will be pecan forever. Number 6, Love Under the Stars. Number 5, Christmas Cookies. Number 4, Haul Out the Holly Lit Up. Number 3, A Nashville Christmas Carol. Number 2, Haul Out the Holly. And number 1, Check into Christmas.
Yeah, I think all of yours are on the list too, in some form, unless I missed something, right?
I don't think Christmas at Graceland,
Mm-mm.
because number 6 was June and January, and I didn't have that in my top 10.
Right. Okay. Right. But we talked about Christmas in Graceland, though. So
Yes.
we've
Yes.
basically talked about the ones that were on your list. Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Stephanie, how about you? What was your list?
At 10, Love Begins. 9, Christmas Cookies. 8, Love Under the Stars. 7, June and January. 6, A Nashville Christmas Carol. 5, Every Time a Bell Rings. 4, Haul Out the Holly Lit Up. 3, Under the Autumn Moon. 2, Check into Christmas. And 1, Haul Out the Holly.
Great list. Okay, we talked about all the movies that were on your list. So Erinbeth, you're the official scorekeeper. How did everybody do? What were each of their scores and who was the winner?
Well, Stephanie got 10 points, and then Leigh Anne and Erin tied with 12. So we have a tie. Actually makes me feel a little better because it's also Erin's gameplay that kept her from winning the thing.
It is? I thought it was my gameplay that
It
made me
is.
tie.
No, because if you would have waited and let Haul Out the Holly go to number 1, you would have won.
So those 12 points are because of the getting a title in the correct ranked position, right?
Getting a title in the correct ranked position. So no, they tied. Leigh Anne and Erin both received 12. Everyone played well, let me tell you. Like I told Lynn beforehand, I said, it's like a bingo card. You're like, okay, this person's got this person's got this. And the gameplay, I was watching, I'm like going, man, you guys are doing a really good job.
You
So
guys
it was
did
neck and neck basically the whole time.
You guys did a great job. Thank you so much for doing this. It was such a blast. Coming up in August, listeners, oh my God, I can't wait for this one. It's going to be Daniel Thompson from Deck The Hallmark Podcast, Mary Carver, and me. Actually, I'm going to be drafting, so I'm looking forward to this. I haven't drafted since, I don't know, 2022 or something. I can't remember. It was the fake relationships draft. And we're going to be drafting the top 10 list of Hallmark movies written by Julie Sherman Wolfe, who has written so many bangers, so many of our favorites. It's going to be super fun. Julie's going to join us for the show. She's going to either help kick things off or maybe she'll hang for the whole thing. And I cannot wait. But for now, once more, for the final time, here is the definitive list of the 10 best Hallmark movies featuring Wes Brown as drafted by Stephanie, Erin, and Leigh Anne. Here we go. At 10, Love Begins. At 9, Haul Out the Holly, Lit Up. At 8, Under the Autumn Moon. At 7, A Nashville Christmas Carol. At 6, June and January. At 5, Love Under the Stars. At 4, Sweet Pecan Summer. At 3, Every Time a Bell Rings. At 2, Haul Out the Holly. And at number 1, Check In to Christmas. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this. Let's all say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Crueler.
Jessica Lowndes was
Christmas.
wrong.
Crueler. I love it.
I love you guys, but come on, Jessica Lowndes, don't be. He deserves to be on this list. Hallmark Movie Drafts is a monthly production. Stephanie Preschel creates the movie synopses using descriptions from IMDb or Hallmark.com as a base. Kate Baca vets the list of eligible movies and manages our Letterboxd account called Hallmark Drafts, where you'll find the list of eligible movies for each show, as well as the final top 10 lists and the panelists who drafted them. Erinbeth Cermak creates the Where to Watch lists and the trivia round questions, and along with Stephanie and Kate, provides additional creative, research, and hosting support. I'm Lynn Austin. I'm the showrunner, producer, and host. I staff the panels, create the show topics, manage the production schedule and the HMD socials, and edit and publish the podcast. Intro and outro music is provided courtesy of Amato Zapana. Thank you to the Deck The Hallmark double-deckers who share their passionate opinions on these Hallmark movies that we love, or maybe not love, so much.